And welcome to On The Clock, brought to you in partnership with Under Armour. With the NAB AFL Draft approaching, we're here to answer all of the big questions. And to do that, I'm joined by Matthew Lloyd and Cal Twomey. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, great to be here. And we're just over a month away from the draft. And you're starting to hear rumours and stories about what might happen. So, yeah, we're getting very close.
I'm trying to work it all out, Lloyd. I've been on the phone to clubs all week and I still don't know exactly how it's going to pan out. I don't think clubs do either, so that's keeping it really fascinating at this time of the year.
It's sure to be an intriguing month. Lloydie, I'll get to you with the first question. Which pick do you think will shape the draft?
I know this is very early. We know what Rao's going to happen in pick 1. Anderson's going pick 2, but pick 3 still I'm unsure about what's going to happen. And Tom Green, the actual GWS Academy player, he looms large about where he's nominated so early in that draft.
Yeah, that will be a big factor going into the top 10 and where that bid does come. Melbourne's pick is the first live pick in the draft, essentially, given, as you said, we know what Gold Coast are going to do with their first 2. So it's all about who they take and what happens there and the flow-on effect. Hayden Young looms as a possible pick for the D's, and I can see why, because he's a deliverer off half-back. We see that left foot there. He's a piercing player. Teams give him the ball and let him just set up the play. So he will step straight into Melbourne's lineup if they go with him, and he'll be their best kick straight away because what he can do with the ball off that left side is really remarkable. He moved a bit of time into the midfield late in the season too. He started the championships for Vic Country. Look at that kick, Lloyd. He just delivered the ball there, lace out, and set up this goal for Vic Country. So I like what he can do, and the clubs think that he's the obvious choice for Melbourne, but Melbourne don't always go obvious. So Luke Jackson, the ruckman's also in their mix. Caleb Sarong's another one who they might be looking at that point.
And you believe he'd be Melbourne's best kick from round 1 next year?
Yeah. Pretty much.
I'm not backing away in it.
Christian Salem would maybe say I'm pretty good too, but look, his ability, Hayden Young, to push Salem up into the midfield would be a nice addition.
Cal, you mentioned Luke Jackson earlier, saying that he was in the mix for Melbourne. We think he's going to be the first ruckman taken, but how early should he be taken?
I'm not a fan of taking rucks early, Riles, and history shows why, because look at the last 4 premiership teams. They're not star-started ruckmen, they're trades. You can get ruckmen later in the trade period. We saw how valuable they are during the trade period. You get them cheap. So Luke Jackson's going to go early. I think he'll go in the top 10. Personally, I wouldn't be taking him with a pick inside that first 8 or so. He's a star. We've seen what he can do around the ground, and we see the Brodie Grundy comparisons. But my view, you don't take ruckman early, you buy him later.
I think if one comes along like this, you do take them earlier. I disagree there. You look at Nat Nui, no one would take that one back. Matty Cruiser, you wouldn't take that back. Brodie Grundy, some would be regretting that. So I think the Giants, how's Mumford gone for them? So I think if they can get up the order, they will take him. And Carlton, he doesn't get past pick 9. They need a ruckman as well.
Those 3 ruckmen you mentioned, how many flags have they played in?
It's not their fault, though, is it? Are you blaming Brodie Grundy? Did he cost Collingwood the flag last year?
Didn't cost him, but he was beaten in the grand final by a couple of guys who were second stringers.
Dustin Martin and Cochin are fair players, so Nankervis didn't suddenly win them a premiership.
It's very interesting indeed. It's a big draft for Adelaide, Lloydie. What type of player do you think they should be targeting with pick 4?
Well, I believe they've got no flair, the Crows. We look at the Crouch brothers, we look at Rory Sloane. They got no run. I love Brodie Smith. So I think that they need another player to support him. It's Lockie Ash. I think Lockie Ash is a running carry player. Cal, I know you rank him around the 7 mark.
Yeah, we call him Lockie Dash.
Dash, yeah. And I want some flair. I want to see some runs, some carry. As I said, Brodie Smith for me is the X factor for the Adelaide Crows, and they've lost him. So could they be bold, or not be bold, because this kid can play, but and take him maybe a few picks earlier than they would normally?
Yeah, they could. He's right in their mix. And what I like about Lockie Ash is he doesn't just have the speed, he's also got the endurance, and he showed that at the Combine. He was one of the best aerobic competitors across that week too. My guy for the Crows, I think, is Sam Flanders. I'm a bit like you. I'd like to see some pizzazz added to that midfield, and Flanders has got that. He reminded me so much of what Christian Petrarca did in his draft year, that bullish inside midfielder who can get the ball out. We see the explosive streak here, the strength. Then he goes forward and plays well above his head. He kicked 4 goals in a quarter playing for Gippsland Power late in the year against Rowell and Anderson. So he's matched it with the best. We see the overhead marking there. Sam Flanders has entered the season, put him in the top 5 contention, and I think the Crows have to really consider him at their spot. So just bring us something exciting.
Yeah. Hoping they do that in the draft. We know the Giants have Tom Green coming through their academy. They currently have pick 6, but should they let him go to another club, Lloydie, if a bid comes too early for him?
I don't think they should. I don't think they should at all. I know that Jackson, the ruckman, might be loom something, but not at the expense of Tom Green. I think that a lot will say that if Rowell, Anderson, Green, he'd be in the mix for that, Cal, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, if he was playing for Oakley Chargers or the Sandringham Dragons, the buzz would be all about him. We probably would talk about him more as a potential #1 candidate. My question to you, though, is how does he get a game game at the Giants. So this is something they have to consider. He's not going to get a game in front of Taranto, who won the best and fairest this year. Jacob Hopper's a star. Cal Ward comes back next year. So does Steve Cornelio. Josh Kelly's plays some midfield inside time as well.
So what you're saying, Cal, is you wouldn't take him if you're the Giants?
I'd say you'd be really considering it if you're the Giants. You'd be saying, do we need this? Is he going to help us for our premiership bid next year? Maybe Lockie Ash does more. Maybe Luke Jackson does more. Maybe Hayden Young does more. So if they think they're in the window right now, which they do, Tom Green doesn't help them next year.
How early is too early, though? If Melbourne bid pick 3, do they then think about passing it up? How early is too early?
It's a political thing too, isn't it? There's a connection. There's a slight responsibility to go for the local, given he's the Canberra boy and they want to build more local and New South Wales talent. So that all comes into their thinking. They have to strongly consider taking him, and I think they probably do. But on the other hand, if their list is going to be better next year, maybe they avoid him.
When you're that good, he gets a game. He gets a game. He gets a game in all 18 teams.
No one passes up on the next Paddy Cripps. Lloydie, which club needs to trade up the order before draft night? There'll be a few clubs jockeying into higher positions.
I think the Cats, because for me, they rely too much on their stars. You know, we look at it, Dangerfield, Tommy Hawkins, Joel Selwood. They need some firepower. Tim Kelly's a massive loss. Look at it, they've got pick 14, 17, 24, 36. They've added Stephen, they've added Jenkins. Apart from Clark and Myers, I worry about who their next star is from a young perspective.
Well, their last top 10 pick would have been Nakai Cockatoo, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Jordan Clark.
Jordan Clark was an early one last year. I think that North Melbourne has to be brave as well. So they've got 2 picks in the 20s, 26 and 27 after that deal with Melbourne last year. If they package them up on the draft value index, the points index, all very complicated, but it's worth about pick 10, those 2 picks under the points game. If they aim for something around the 11 to 15 mark, get them back inside that first round because they need some more elite talent. I like some of the players coming through there. Simpkin, I think Luke Davies-Uniacke will be a good player in time too, but they need more of them and they have to push back into the first round.
The DVI draft value index is all well and good, but is a club with pick 10 trading it for 26 and 27?
Depends, because I think the value of that pick in this year's draft will be in the eye of the beholder. I think there's an evenness in this year's pool that might make clubs think that, hey, we can get what we want in the 20s.
Very interesting. Well, Carlton missed out on Tom Papley during the trade period. They've now got pick 9. Jack Martin, for now, isn't at the club either. Should they target a small forward with pick 9?
Oh, it'd be tempting. Cody Waiton is that man, the best small forward in the draft, a Haileybury boy, but I don't think so. I think they go...
You just had to get the
I did, but they have to go the best player available. And to me, they need more than just a small forward.
Yeah.
They need a ruckman, so if Jackson's there, that'd be tempting.
Okay.
And they also need to bolster their midfield.
And the bolster in the midfield might be where they look at Brodie Kemp. And Brodie Kemp, for me, is the guy they should be hoping gets through to pick 9. We see him here throughout the championships. He was a star at the championships. Unfortunately, we didn't see much of him after that because he did his ACL. So he'll miss most of next year. It's a long-term pick, whoever does choose him. But he'll be in the Blues sights. 192 centimetres, plays in the midfield. Lloydie can go forward and take a mark, as we see here. Also seen him drift back and plays a third tall on occasion. So
can he be a pure midfielder?
Yeah, that's what he thinks he is.
Okay.
So he thinks in time that's where he'll play long-term. So a pretty good partner to Paddy Cripps long-term, potentially for the Blues.
Played really well in that last champs game for Vic Country in the forward line as well. Thank you guys for your time today, and thank you for joining us. We'll be back soon with another episode of On the Clock. See you then.